Remember Dave Chappelle used to have a thing called when keeping it real goes wrong or keeping it real goes bad? This is when keeping it real goes right. Jordan Pugh joining us, who always keeps it real on the program. Good morning, JP. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm ready to talk about it. So I'm not going to say you were alone in this because there were many people asking for Connor a year ago. I had high school coaches texting me like before the season, what are you guys doing not starting Connor? I remember that clearly. He's the guy now. Take it away.
Well, I mean, I think it's two things. You got to plan for the future. So I think we talked about it last time I was on. I think that his skill set is what we're looking for offensively, especially what Petrino wants to do offensively, be able to move the pocket, a lot of boots waggles, but also what you saw at the end of last year, how he took over the offense. He gained the confidence, but there was a control factor, okay? So I think with what we're doing offensively, I think he fits perfectly with the type of scheme that we're running. Now, if we look at it from a strategic standpoint, you have a guy in Max who's capable of playing. I don't think he's the better guy, but also he's transferred in. So there's a little more allegiance / loyalty to staying here and seeing it out. And you have a quality backup. You have a guy who can play for the future right now. You have a guy who is fully capable of leading the team. I just think he possesses everything that you need from a quarterback standpoint to lead the team, to earn wins, but also take control of the offense. I think you need that one person who can control it. That's what hurt us last year. Of course, we had the injuries, but now you have a guy who's fully confident and he knows this is his team moving forward.
Yeah, and Jordan, I'm gonna tell you, man, what I've seen, like there's something about the ball he throws, the placement. We saw it in game day, right? I'm watching it. It's even better right now. Like from the scrimmage where we get to watch, or the open practice, I should say, to what I've seen in practice. There's just a rhythm and a confidence in his throws that he knows he's going to put it in the right spot, and what that does for the receiving core, that's already extremely good.
Yeah, it's confidence. It's something, man. From when you play your first year, you're trying to just figure it out, right? It's your first year in college, 100,000 people, you're on primetime TV all the time. There's high expectations. You don't even know what you can do yet until you do it. Then you have a guy in Connor that comes in, he's forced into action. He gets all the way to the LSU game, and you saw the team shine, but you saw the team shine under his control. I think that played a huge factor because there was big success over a team who started off with nothing, gained a whole bunch of hype by the end of the season, beat Alabama, played for the SEC championship game, and you go out there and you stomp them. I think the confidence that he gained from those games, from those experiences, it leads over into the offseason, right? So now the players know they can trust you. The players know that you're a playmaker. So what you believed about yourself is true. And I think that plays into the second season. You have that experience. You know that you lived this college life. You lived this SEC schedule before. It's nothing new now. So now it's more of stacking what we already have, knowing what we can already do, and just applying it to game plans, to the field, and just leading the team.
Talking to Jordan Pugh here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. I want to talk about what a good offense can do for this defense, because this defense, They had their issues. There's no doubt. But they also were on the field a lot, right? So what does a good offense do for a defense out there that has got to shore up some things, no doubt about it, but just the overall, when they're holding up their end of the bargain, what it does for the other side?
Well, confidence. So this is kind of a good question that you asked. I've been thinking about the new rule change with the clock. The clock's still running on first down. So you're looking at ball control with the offense, being able to control the tempo of the game. I think a lot of the issues that we had last year was the problem we had with not controlling the tempo of the game. I think that we got behind on downs early, so it put us in situations where it forced us to be predictable. But now, going in with Petrino coming in, hopefully creating that balance along with exciting plays, it breeds confidence in the defense. Because defensively, you know that if I can get that ball back to the offense, one, I know that we can control the tempo of the game. Two, I know that we can score at any point. So it gives us a confidence defensively in order to play full speed and know that our offense can ultimately control the outcome by controlling the tempo. So I think it's big. I think the new rule change with the clock running on first downs is big. I think a lot of that plays a role into it.
Talking to Jordan Pugh, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. All right, let's talk about areas of concern. Is there an
Yep.
area on the defense that you are concerned about?
The first one that comes to mind is the linebacker position. I know that we have Cooper coming back. I just think the depth issue at the linebacker position may be of concern. We just got to see what the development looks like from the offseason. That's one of the concerns that I have. I would also say the corner position. I know we had Grimes that came in, Chappelle at the corner position. It's just what does that look like? Can we get enough consistency in those two positions to really hone in on the defense? Hopefully, we don't have any more. Or well, let me phrase it this way. Hopefully, we don't play as much three down linemen on defense. We have more of a four-man front. But as far as concerns on the defense, those would be the two positions that I would really look at. Offensively, is the offensive line. I think that as far as skill position is concerned, we're among the best in the country, from receiver to the running back position, all the way from guys that we've had on the roster in the running back position to Ruben Owens coming in as a freshman. I just think our offensive line has to be consistent. I think our offensive line has to be set. They have to be able to communicate with each other. And I think that they can take a step forward. I think you'll see this team take a step forward because we'll be able to have more consistency on offense.
I want to ask you about the safety spot, but start it off with Bryce. We saw this dude as a freshman look like a real player.
Yeah. Yep.
And hopefully what will be a huge growth, a leadership growth and a on-play growth. What do you expect from Bryce this year?
But I expect a lot. My biggest thing is where do you slide him in? You have him at the safety position. I know that sometimes we use him down at the nickel spot as well. The thing that I like about him is the versatility that he possesses. But like you said, the leadership position. With him, Damani, you had Gilbert coming back as well. I think those three guys really solidify that back end of the defense. I think Bryce, though, can be the alpha. You know what I mean? I just think from a leadership standpoint, him being on the field, him having that voice on the defense, being able to bring the chemistry and continuity back in that secondary, I think he plays a vital role in that. I think Damani is your elder statesman, your guy that's been around for a long time. He's seen it all. He's had the highs, he's had the lows. But I think Bryce is that true guy who's the alpha who can, one, play the pass, who can play the run, and who can also be that vocal guy to bring the continuity back to that defense.
How important is the experience that Damani brings to that group? Because, as you mentioned, he has seen it all, and he decided to come back. He could have tested the waters in the NFL. He decided to come back. There's a lot on his shoulders this year, but he's spreading it with some seriously quality guys. But how important is he to their success back there?
He's huge. Man, there's nothing like experience, right? One of the things that I always disagree with and I hate is, you gotta learn, take mental reps, all that. Look, the best way to learn is to get out on that field, get burned a few times, win a few times, understand what it takes to win. I think Damani has he's been through the change. He's been through the highest of highs. He's been through the lowest of lows. He has seen it all. And he's a guy who can guide the younger guys through this. You know what I mean? A lot of the younger guys had to step up last year, and I think he was an integral role in the defense because of his experience. But now going in, I think, what is this? Is this year 5 for him?
Yeah.
Then he had that extra year because of COVID. Going into that extra year, man, you're like the dad now. You're like the dad. You've been through the life experiences, and now you want to pass that knowledge on to the young guys. And man, that's a hard task. I remember being in that task the same way my senior year with a lot of the young guys that came and played. But I think, with the young guys playing last year, mixed with his ability and his experience, I just think there's a continuity and there's a certain chemistry with this team. You just kind of hear it throughout the interviews, kind of hear it with Jimbo, with what he talks about. I think that there's something special brewing, but a lot of that has to do with the experience with guys like Damani and just with the team overall, with what they went through last year.
We probably don't think of it until, you're in that situation, but the conversations between 17-year-olds and 22, soon to be 23-year-olds, it's just completely different, right? It's the kind of thinking a man is doing as opposed to a young man.
Well, I can just tell you off experience, going in from my freshman year, because I played as a freshman, and going into your senior, this is your last go around. This is it. I have to get it done now. So there's a different type of urgency. There's a different type of want to that you have going into the season. When you look at it from 17, 18-year-old, you're playing your first year, you're just excited to be on the field. It's like, man, cool, I'm playing. You know what I mean? I get to see my face on the Jumbotron. I'm happy. All the crowd's cheering. This is what I dreamed of. But then when the games go on, it quickly becomes a reality. And either you're ready for it or you're not. And that's where the experience comes in. And I think that's why, talking about Damani, and his experience, I think that's why it's big. He's really the grandpa of that defense. If you really break it down, you really look at the guys and their experience level, he's the one who's seen it all. So, man, it's a different way. It's a different way of trying to interact. It's a different way. It's a different thought process when you're in that position. But I think he knows how to handle it.
Do you, excuse the ignorance of what I don't remember, but did you have a different coordinator at all during your time there? And the adjustment, remind me.
Man, let's see. I had two coordinators. Yeah, two coordinators, three position coaches.
Okay.
Yep, because I think Darnell was my first 2 years, then Kynes came in my last 2 years. So, we had change all about my time at A&M.
So is it true? Like, it sometimes takes a year, and I'm talking about Durkin, right? We saw it at Ole Miss. It took that team a year for them to figure out that defense. Is that really a thing?
Yes, it's very much so a thing. It's not that you don't know how to play. You just don't have the confidence because you don't know exactly what the coach wants. You know he wants you to play a curl flat. He wants you to blitz on this. But understanding the defense, understanding what everybody else is doing around you, that's the part where guys start picking it up. You don't really start playing fast until you know what that guy is doing next to you, the way that you can disguise it, the way that you guys can look at each other with nonverbal communication and know what that person is going to do. It all goes together. The first year you're trying to survive because the first year you're just trying to do your job well. The second year in the system is, okay, I know my job. Now let's work together and make this thing special. So that jump from year one to year two, you should see significant change. And then with Durkin, I think with all his times and all his stops, it's always been the second year where you see that defense really take over. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Ole Miss where Ole Miss really took that jump defensively, if I'm not mistaken. But I just think, man, in any scheme, any system, when there's a change, one, you're trying to please the coach because you're trying to play. You just want to play. So I just need to get my job done so I can stay on the field. Then year two comes around, you have more time in the meeting room. You have more time to look over the film. You have more time to look over the playbook. It's, okay, how does this thing all function together in order to be unstoppable? So I think that's the biggest change, man, year one, year two.
Jordan, follow me here because you say that, and I believe that. I hope that's not the case when it comes offensively. And the reason I don't think it'll be the case offensively is the bar was so low offensively last year that, sure, it may take some time to really master the Petrino offense, but it's going to be a massive upgrade regardless.
Well, the biggest thing offensively is, how do I want to phrase this? It's play calling. Every offense is essentially the same. You go too wide, you go trips, you go I formation, you go pistol, power, counter, over routes, flood routes, all the same. The difference in offense is there's a rhythm to the play calling, all right? So there's usually offensive coordinators are usually calling things 4 plays ahead in order to set it up. The good thing about offense is you get the ball to your playmakers, and your playmakers can make up for a lot of things. So now you're looking at Moose, you're looking at Anais, you're looking at Everett Stewart, you're looking at our running back, our house at running back. I think you have a lot of playmakers that can make up for a lot of faults or mistakes that guys do offensively. That's the beautiful thing about offense. Now, it takes more time to gel. It takes more time to understand, just the scheme overall. But at the end of the day, if you can get that ball in the playmakers' hands, they can do a lot with that ball. So I think, man, there shouldn't be a fall off. The terminology should be about the same. It's just the rhythm of the play calling and how do we progress to set up plays throughout the drive.
Jordan, one thing we haven't talked about is cornerback, and Tyreek Chappelle was solid last year. Jalen Jones moves on to the NFL. You got a couple guys from the ACC. They're going to be competing for that starting spot. Javon Thomas looking really good, the freshman. How comfortable are you with cornerback?
I'm not comfortable. That's one of the weaknesses I see in the defense. I think that Grimes can come in and he can play immediately and he can make an impact because he has the college experience. Chappelle, I'm waiting to see more. I'm just waiting to see more. I think he has it's not that I think, I know that he has the ability, but now will it elevate? Like we talked about that year 1 to year 2 system. So are you more comfortable in your job now? Are you more comfortable understanding the defense, the concepts of what coach is trying to accomplish? I just think overall, when it comes from a physical athletic ability standpoint, there's no question we can do it. The question is, can we consistently do it? That's my biggest concern with the cornerback position. Now, to combat that, I feel a lot better with the pass rush we have and the front that we have. I think you'll see a big jump in that because there's a maturity factor on that O&D line. So that will help a lot with the corner position.
Is that it? Is it really that simple for you from what you saw last year? Is just the maturity standpoint, not only kind of developing in the weight room, but just you've been here before, you've done it. And, oh, by the way, McKinley's healthy.
Yep. Here's the biggest thing. Last year, I thought the rankings, when we were started off at 6 or whatever it was, I thought it was too early, right? When you look at a team that was forced into action, when you look at a team that got embarrassed, and I know everybody hated me when I said this, but I said sometimes the best thing to happen is not go to a bowl game because it forces change. It forces you to change. And you see a lot of guys bought in. You hear about the guys that have transferred out, and you said, man, we really have addition by subtraction. You hear a lot more camaraderie, a lot more people bought into the system. Last year, it forced guys to grow up. So you have the maturity factor. You have on the defense guys being in the scheme the second year. You have a belief in Petrino because of the track record that he has. You even see Jimbo a little bit different. The way that he interacts with the media, for example, he's a little lighter. He's kind of in a better mood. It seems like he has better control over the entire operation. I just think that this is the year that it can pop. I know everybody's down with the 5 and 7. I have high expectations for the team this year. If TCU can make it to the college football playoff, there is no reason A&M should not be able to make it. I know everybody's going to say, oh, that's high horse. No, we have better players. There's better overall talent, better overall coaches, better overall scheme, and we have the resources. There's no reason not to. And there's no better time to take over the SEC than now. I'm not a believer in LSU. I think Alabama is finding its way. I think Georgia is going to be down a little bit. You lost too much. This is the time. So I'm excited about the season. I think there's a lot to look forward to. This first game is going to tell us a lot. This first game is going to tell us the maturity factor of this team. It's going to tell us, did they learn the lessons from last year? So I'm looking forward to that.
I think, Jordan, that's the most optimistic you have been since I've been in this chair. Like, I remember, like, you early on, like, not as confident. Am I right? Am I hearing you correctly?
No, look, I love my school, all right? But I believe what I see. So last year against, I think it was Sam Houston, they looked terrible. Yeah. Offense couldn't block anybody, this and the other. But I just know from being on the field, playing at every level, experience is huge. Experience plays a big factor. And then if you can keep everybody healthy, that plays another factor. The experience that everybody gained and everybody was forced into action, that makes a big difference. I believe that makes a huge difference, and there's a different type of confidence level. And I don't believe in big time motivation. That, either you want to do this or you don't. But you got embarrassed last year. You got embarrassed. And I think there's something to play with that. I think everybody has something to prove, Jimbo included. And I have a good feeling about the team this year.
I love it. So let me ask you, you brought up Sam Houston. I brought up both Sam Houston and Kent State the year prior, the opening games. They showed us signs. So New Mexico coming this weekend. I mean, how much will it tell us? Will it tell us much, or is it kind of a TBD?
It's going to tell us a lot. Last year, what you saw was a bunch of young guys who thought they were better than Sam Houston. They didn't, and then they learned hard. They learned the hard way, and they never matured past that until you got to the LSU game. The LSU game, you saw a glimpse of what this team is. You saw a glimpse of what that talent is. Now, when you go into this New Mexico game, what I need to see complete and utter domination from our offense and defensive line. I'm not concerned about the skill positions. We'll do what we do out there. We cannot have the same performance that we had against Sam Houston State. Our offensive line has to move people beyond their will. I need to see that on Saturday. Defensively, I need to see complete and utter chaos on the D line. I need them in the backfield, disrupting everything. If I see that, that tells me that we've matured over the offseason. That tells me that we understand what the assignment and what the mission is. So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing.
You know what I want to see, and everything you just said, I want to see a lot of points early. I don't want, like, because, like, last year against Sam Houston, you ended up winning by a hefty amount, but it really, like, it was close at the half. Kent State was close at the half. I want to see 35. Sorry, I want to see 21 in the first quarter, 20 or 14 or 21 in the second quarter. And I want Connor to get a little bit of a break and let Max do his thing, and then let's see Jalen Henderson or whomever.
You know what? You're completely right. You are right. I want to see that too. I think, though, if the offensive line dominates like I want them to, you're going to see that. There is no reason we shouldn't have at least, let's say, 24 first game of the season. There's no reason we shouldn't have 24 by halftime. We are the superior team physically, athletically, and we have the better coaching. So there's no reason to do that. But it all depends on well, let me take that back. It doesn't depend. It's the maturity that we faced or that we had over the offseason. But also it depends on how we've matured as well mentally. The physical problems will never be an issue for us. It's the mental state. Are we there mentally, and have we matured to that point?
All right, that was fun, Jordan. We're gonna do it next week, right?
Let's do it, man. Every Tuesday, let's go.
Hey, do you like it keeping it real with JP or with Jordan Pugh?
Man, look, yes, let's do it. I will always be honest. The one thing everybody listening will understand is I will always be honest. And if we're looking good, I'm gonna say it. If we look like trash, I'm gonna say it. It doesn't mean I don't love us. I just want us to be champions, man. So I think it'll be fun, man, all year long.
Appreciate you, man. Talk to you next week.
All right.
Later.
Sounds good.